Surah An-Nisa, which we have to look at when we as Muslims here in India address the issues of how to survive in a non-Islamic society. How to survive. And it's an issue that Muslims have to consider. Without considering it, they are doomed to destruction. We are already living a lost generation. Muslims, Muslim youths, etc., growing up in this society. We have a lost generation. They are neither non-Muslims nor are they Muslims. They're somewhere in between, not knowing which way really to turn. We can only survive in this society if we address the fundamental issues which are necessary for our survival, in accordance with the seerah, in accordance with the example of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, particularly that example in the Meccan period, because it is most similar to the situation of Muslims here in India, as well as Muslims in other locations, whether it be in Sri Lanka or in the Philippines or in the West, in America, in Canada, in England. These are issues which I have addressed on a number of occasions in lectures given in America, in Canada, and in England. And they are as much relevant as they are here in India. Though India represents the largest Muslim minority in the world, a minority so large that it is larger than all of the Arab Muslim countries. There is no Arab Muslim country with a larger population than the Muslim minority in India. Sounds very strange. When Islam in fact began amongst the Arabs, in the terms of the last message of Islam and its propagation to mankind, that's where it began. So when we're looking at this period, and we look at this verse in Surah An-Nisa, in which Allah says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَوَفَّاهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ ظَالِمِي أَنفُسِهِمْ قَالُوا فِيمَ كُنْتُمْ. Indeed, those whom the angels take their souls in a state of self-oppression, they're asked by the angels, what was your situation? Allah refers to people in sin, in disobedience to Allah, as being ظَالِمُوا أَنفُسِهِمْ, self-oppressors, oppressing themselves. Why? Because when we disobey Allah, we do not hurt Allah in any way. We hurt ourselves. If every human being on the face of the earth decided to worship Allah and to obey Him, it would not increase Allah in any way. Just as if all human beings, the jinn, the angels, the rest of creation decided to disobey Allah, those amongst the creation who could, it would not decrease Allah in any way. So Allah refers to sin, those who are in a state of sin, in a state of disobedience to Allah's command, as being in a state of self-oppression. Because whatever they have done, will only come back to harm them in the next life. If not in this life, and as Allah tells us, whatever calamities befall us, it is from our own hands, what of our own deeds, the result of our own deeds. If not in this life, for sure in the next life, we will find the consequence of our deeds. So whatever wrong we do, we harm ourselves. So Allah describes those whom the angels take their souls in a state of sin, in a state of disobedience to Allah. The angels ask them, فِيمَا كُنْتُمْ? What was your condition? Their response, كُنَّا مُسْتَضْعَفِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. We were weak and oppressed in the land. We were weak. We were that minority. There was this pagan society around us oppressing us. This is why we were disobedient to you, O Allah. This is why we disobeyed Allah. We did not fulfill His commands because we were in this state of oppression from the society around us. This is the state of Muslims in a non-Muslim society. A state of self-oppression. So what did the angels say back to them? The angels said, قالوا ألم تكن أرض الله واسعة فتهاجروا فيها. Wasn't Allah's earth expansive that you could make hijrah, you could leave, go elsewhere in it? And then the angels completed saying, فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَأْوَاهُمْ جَهَنَّمْ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. For those, their home will be the hellfire, Jahannam, وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. The worst of ends. This verse, I think everyone who lives in a non-Muslim society needs to read regularly. Surah An-Nisa, the 4th chapter, verse 97. It needs to be read regularly as a wake-up, as a reminder to ourselves. What is our situation? What is the excuse for us being in this situation? Do we have an excuse acceptable to Allah? Can we say, كُنَّا مُسْتَضْعَفِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ? Will Allah accept that? To be fair, Allah does go on to say He will accept it from some. Allah says, إِلَّا الْمُسْتَضْعَفِينَ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ وَالنِّسَاءِ وَالْوِلْدَانِ لَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ حِيلَةً وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ سَبِيلًا. Except for those who were truly oppressed among the men and the women and the children, who had no other way out. لا يستطيعون حيلة. They had no way out. And there was no path made clear for them. ولا يهتدون سبيلا. فأولئك عسى الله أن يعفو عنهم وكان الله عفوا غفورا. Those Allah will, out of His mercy, have forgiveness for, because Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. This is Allah. He will forgive those who are in that state, not out of choice. So, what is in front of us? We have in front of us Muslims in a non-Muslim society, the example of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ of hijrah. And this is why Muslim scholars from the earliest of times ruled in their fatwas that it was not permissible for Muslims to live in the midst of non-Muslims. This is something